So let's jump right into it tonight. Where do we stand with Project 70 after 2.5 weeks of releases? But the cool thing with both of these artists is they have taken their 20 card sets and shrunk them down to a 3 and 5 card subset series. This is a hand-painted card. When you take a look at it at quick glance, you can't even tell the difference. Welcome back to episode number 9 of the Project 70 show. My name is Chris, otherwise on Twitter and Instagram is at CRT_Sportscards. And my website is where you want to go for everything related to not only Project 70, but also Project 2020. And that is just CRTSportscards.com. So now that we've seen all 15 cards released this week, which one was your favorite? On the Wednesday night show, right at the very end, I asked what was your favorite card at the middle point of the week. I'm curious, did the last 6 cards, there were some very interesting cards released, did any of those sway your opinion? And are one of these cards that we're going to talk about tonight your favorite of this week? And then, secondarily, look, we've had 39 cards released in the set. We're going to do kind of a where are we at the moment, but we still have nearly 1,000 cards left in the set. But after 39 cards, which one's your favorite? Was it one this week? Was it one from last week? Or was it from the very first week? I'm curious, right now, which one is your favorite Project 70 card this early into the set? Now, you guys know some of my favorite cards already in the set, but some of my real true favorites are the ones that I give away for free on every night of the show when it comes to the person who guesses the print run correctly, or at least closest to the pin. We haven't had anyone nail it on the dot yet, but on the Monday episode when it came to the Pose Ricky Henderson, congrats to Mark Twitchell with his correct print run guess. The print run came in 3,164 and his guess was closest at 3144. So congrats, Mark, on winning that free card. And of course, we're still giving away the Claw Money Tom Seaver on the Wednesday episode. That'll end, of course, tomorrow morning. And we're going to give away, of course, another card free today on the Friday releases. But before we get to the Friday releases, we do need to cover the Thursday releases. And I will tell you, the Thursday releases kind of threw me for a loop for a couple of different reasons. But one thing I didn't miss was the fact that Cody Bellinger had his second card in the set, and he was card number 35. I missed the fact that Mike Trout was number 27, and of course there are other numbers out that I've missed from the beginning, like Babe Ruth being number 3. So Thompson's being a little sneaky here without announcing it, but we did see Old Man Allen return in Project 70 with his Cody Bellinger. And if you remember anything about Old Man Allen or anyone new to Project 70, Old Man Allen is not a traditional artist when you think about drawing. His forte is pictures and fashion, and so you're going to get a lot of pictures from Old Man Allen here. And I will say his Project 2020 set was the closest thing we had in that set to real baseball cards, almost like short printed images. Now, while that Bellinger by Old Man Allen might leave you a little confused, the card next up is going to leave you maybe a little scared, and hopefully you don't look at it too late into the night, but it's Alex Pardee monster Ronald Acuna Jr. Acuna's second card in the set is sourced from, of course, being the Snoop Dogg on day number 2 of Project 70. And look, this card was teased a few weeks ago, so not really that much of a surprise. We knew what to expect with this card. It was just kind of like, when is this card going to be released officially? But Alex Pardee has shared a lot of material around his inspiration around this card. So I recommend you check out his work around this actual card. He explains it in great detail. And also, this is going to be a very interesting set if he does basically 18 monsters, or he does the monsters maybe a 5-part series or a 6-part series. I'm really intrigued by this, and I'm very curious, will this card sell more or less than the Snoop Dogg Acuna, which came in just over 6.1, which I still think for a Snoop Dogg card with someone that popular in the world is a microscopic number. But the one card that actually threw me for the biggest loop was actually probably the simplest, and I don't mean that in any disrespect to Crayola here, Greg Simpkins with his Roger Clemens. But when you take a look at Crayola's artwork overall, and I shared his artwork on Twitter before the set released, I was really expecting his cards to look like his artwork. And so I was surprised when this card came out, but it was actually very, very detailed when you think about it. But on a side note, I'm also very surprised to see Roger Clemens in this set. I thought if anybody we'd see first, it'd be Barry Bonds. So maybe Crayola here is the only artist with Roger Clemens. But when you come back to this Clemens itself, and the reason why I say it is actually very intricate and very detailed is when you take a look at that image, who would think about the fact that an octopus would go around his image so very well? So while it does look simple, it is actually very, very detailed, and it works very well on the card. But I'll be curious, is he going to take this approach with his artwork the remainder of the set, or will we see more detailed artwork from him? Like when you Google him online, you see a lot of his incredible artwork. And so as we end up week number 3 in Project 70, where does this set stand? How many players have we seen? The teams? What is the favorite year of card right now? And look, if you had 1982 or 1990 Topps, which I did not, although I do really like 1982 Topps, they are the leading years right now. They each have had 3 cards released under that year. But look, we still have 1,000 cards to go, so who knows what's going to be the final year winner at the end of the day. We've also seen 39 of the 51 artists. I'm hoping for 4 more days of brand new artists, and then we're going to get into second cards. We have seen 35 different players. So while it does seem like we've seen a couple of extra players here and there, there's only been 4 players with 2 cards. I would say Bellinger having 2 cards now before Mike Trout had 2 was probably the biggest surprise to me. We've had 16 to 17 teams so far in the set, depending on how you look at the Brooklyn Dodgers versus the LA Dodgers. But then when it comes to the teams, look, I get it. The teams right now are completely unbalanced. Topps is really, I'm not going to say they're dropping the ball here, but they are very, very heavy when it comes to the Yankees with 6 and the Dodgers with 6. 12 of the 39 cards have been of only 2 teams. So I really hope this starts to balance out. Last week on last Friday's show, I said I wanted some more Midwest love, and we got 1 card this week. So hopefully upcoming, we'll start to see it balance out, and we'll see some newer teams, because ultimately baseball is about all the teams. It's not just about a couple on the East and the West Coast. And actually a slight correction there when it comes to the team totals. The Dodgers and the Yankees now, after the Friday releases, have 7 cards each. So 14 of the 39 are of those 2 teams. But on Friday alone, we had 1 returning Project 2020 artist. Andrew Thiel release his 69 Topps Reggie Jackson. We had Mikael B release his Clayton Kershaw, Welcome to Project 70. And we had Morning Breath, which is just an amazing name, an incredible name to Google for the Mariano. And if you watched this show last year, I will never say Mariano's last name because I always say it wrong. But maybe I'll try this year and get it right. But when you take a look at the years that were released in today's cards, number 1, Mikael B uses 1982 Topps for his Clayton Kershaw. And when you think about 1982 Topps, it's kind of a boring year. There's really nothing stand-outish around 1982. But with this Clayton Kershaw, he's taken really a contemporary new school feel to the card. So it's going to work for a lot of people. It doesn't necessarily work for me. When I saw the card first glance, when I saw all 3 together, I thought it may have been a Canadian player. I was like, oh, I wonder what Canadian player we're celebrating with this card. And then I saw Kershaw, and then it kind of made more sense. So I'll be curious to see when he releases more cards, if he continues this design, and if he also mixes in maybe the team colors or something along these lines, because this set could end up working, but right now it's just a little too new age for me. But that is just because I gravitate to 1969 or 1971 Topps over really anything else at the moment. These 2 top sets, or the designs of the cards, I think are some of the best from just an eye appeal perspective. And when you take a look at Andrew Thiel, I really, really like this Reggie Jackson for one simple reason, and it's something that I've mentioned already on an episode of this series, along with almost the entire series last year, Project 2020. Andrew Thiel's artwork at times was so very detailed that it would get lost in the small format of a trading card. But this Reggie Jackson is super detailed, but there's really nothing in the background. It is rather plain, and it really makes Reggie Jackson stand out. And I almost kind of get maybe a little bit of a robot feel to his arms and the design style. So I think that for 1969 Topps, and sort of maybe improving on his style, and me telling an artist to improve is way out of bounds to say anything like that. But it really simplifies his design, and I think this Reggie Jackson really works. And that leaves us just 1 card left in the week, 1971 Topps by Morning Breath. And Morning Breath is a 2-person team, Doug Cunningham and Jason Noto. I would highly recommend doing some research on them to see how they came about and to see sort of the origins of Morning Breath. But on this Mariano, and when you first took a look at it, if you're a fan of Project 2020, you kind of got a little bit of a Blake Jamieson feel because of the stencil work behind the Mariano. But it is 1971 Topps. The black border is iconic. You can never go wrong with a 1971 Topps design. I'm curious though, at the end of the day, how many people or how many artists are going to end up using 1971 Topps in their sort of artwork overall, because I'm a buyer of 1971 Topps. So you ask yourself right now, if I'm buying the Mariano because it's 1971 Topps and I like the Reggie Jackson, but I'm not a big fan of the Clayton Kershaw, which card can I give away for free today? It's going to be the Clayton Kershaw by Mikhail B, just because of the fact that it's maybe not my style, but it's going to be a style for many people out there. And I'm really curious, will a card in this style work and what will the print run be? So right now, put that print run guess below for the Clayton Kershaw, and the person who gets close to the print run without going over is going to win a free copy of the card from me. So with that, I'll see you back on Monday evening for episode number 10 of the Project 70 show, where we recap the first releases of week number 4. Have a fantastic weekend, and do not forget to go buy your cards on the Topps.com website.